It is harder to create wealth, sustainable wealth, in New Jersey than almost any other state in the nation. By the numbers, New Jersey has been in the midst of a recovery for a while now. It has been slower than the rest of the nation, but it is happening, or at least it was. Housing prices were rebounding, unemployment was ebbing, more people were going back to work. You may have even picked up your hiring. We had a more favorable tax climate in New Jersey. And then what happened? Hurricane Sandy. It's been almost 17 months since Sandy clawed her way into New Jersey, tearing apart the shore, flooding much of our state, and derailing the fragile economic recovery that was underway. This is devastation that threatened the entire state. Our multi-billion-dollar tourism industry was in jeopardy. Sandy was the biggest natural disaster to ever hit New Jersey, and in terms of sheer size, it was the biggest hurricane ever recorded. Despite congressional bickering, billions in federal and state money came pouring in, and it saved the tourism season. But even 17 months later, there is still much work to be done. Many have still not been able to return to their homes. And in many cases, the amount of aid or financial assistance that's available is not enough to make people whole. And the economic reality is Sandy is going to continue to be a drag on our state, on our local economies, for years to come, whether you do business at the shore or not. And as if that wasn't bad enough, just as we were getting our recovery going again, and the rebuilding from Sandy was starting to create jobs, what happened after that? Congress shut down the federal government. Do you remember that? 30,000 federal workers in New Jersey were told to stay home. It was yet another jolt to the fragile economic recovery that we had been cobbling together. And it once again, by the way, drove down our confidence in the federal government. Anybody want to guess how unpopular Congress is today? The approval rating of Congress has now dropped to below 8%. 8%. A national polling agency did a little study, and what they found was this: standing in line at motor vehicles is more popular than Congress. Brain-eating zombies are actually more popular than Congress. Even Miley Cyrus twerking was more popular than Congress. I think it's safe to say we don't have a lot of confidence in our elected officials on the federal level. And state polls have not shown much more confidence in our state or our local officials. But why is that? Let's take a look at New Jersey for a second. How about some perspective? Or the new word the governor coined, a look through the retrospectroscope. Chris Christie's first term was one that did have some successes, but also some pretty big failures. While it's true that there is reform to the pension and benefits system that threatens to bankrupt the state and many of our local towns, the governor has now produced 4 state budgets that have reduced overall governmental spending and doesn't rely on higher taxes. But it still costs more to live in New Jersey than almost anywhere else in the United States. And there's one main reason why. Anybody want to guess what that is? Who said property taxes? Despite a 2% cap, property taxes here remain the highest in the nation. And it is perhaps the most punishing tax there is. After payroll and income taxes, it's what comes right off the top, and it saps your disposable income. In many areas of the state, people are paying more in their property tax bill than they are for their mortgage. And if that were the only burden of living in New Jersey, it may be a little bit more bearable. But it's not. We are simply the most heavily taxed state in the nation. Aside from our state taxes, New Jersey residents pay more in federal income taxes than residents in every other state except Connecticut and New York. Yet for every dollar we send to Washington, we only get 55 cents back in federal aid. A recent New Jersey 101.5 analysis shows that it is going to cost the average family almost $5,000 more just to break even this year over last. That's less money for disposable income. That's less money for your potential customers. That's less money for you to invest in your business, to create more jobs, and to keep this fragile economy and recovery from collapsing. As you might imagine, Governor Christie doesn't like to hear a lot of what I just said. I brought it up with him countless times on our Ask the Governor program. I need to smile more, he tells me. And not be so full of gloom and doom. He might be right, but I can't help it. I'm the grandson of German immigrants. It's not in our nature to smile. We have a particular knack for seeing the bad in almost every situation. It's the perfect demeanor, actually, for a political journalist.